Is RV living cheaper than living in a house? In this video, we are going to break down the numbers and find out. A lot of people assume that living in an RV is cheaper than living in a house. But in this video, I actually want to test that with real numbers because we've now lived in an RV for almost 2 years. But before that, we were living in a normal house, in a normal neighborhood. So I want to break down all the numbers and see if it's actually cheaper to live in an RV. So in this video, we are going to compare our exact RV expenses from the month of April to our exact house expenses from 2024 when we were in a house. And to be honest, by the end of it, some of the numbers actually did surprise me because I've never done this before making this video. So this was my first time actually comparing the numbers and seeing if there's an actual difference. So I'm going to break it down line by line and let's get into it. Before we get into the numbers though, I did want to clarify what I'm actually including in this video. These are just our housing related expenses. So things like our RV payment, our land payment, our previous mortgage, electricity, water, waste, insurance, garbage, anything that pertains to home ownership or our housing expenses. In this video, I am not including things like groceries, gas, giving, personal spending, because these things don't really change depending on whether we're living in a house or an RV. We still have groceries, we still have gas. That all kind of remains the same. So this video is really just a comparison of what it costs to live in a house versus to live in a camper. So let's check out the numbers side by side and see if it's actually cheaper to live in a camper full time. So the first expense that we're going to be comparing is our housing. So when we were in a house, our mortgage was $1,450 a month. We did have an escrow account, so it was our mortgage and our taxes and something else. I think we paid our insurance separately, but this was our mortgage and our taxes at least. So that was wrapped up in the $1,450 a month. Our RV housing, I included our land loan and our camper loan. So we took out a loan to buy the property that we are on, and we took out a loan to buy the camper that we are living in. The RV loan is $396.03, and the land loan is $403.93 a month. So in total, our housing for our RV is $799.96. I could round up to 800 here, but I want to be exact so we can actually see the breakdown. So in our house, our mortgage was $1,450, and in an RV, our housing is $799. So moving on to line number 2, our electric bill. This one actually is what shocked me the most. So in a house 2 years ago in 2024, our electric bill was $179.16. And that would have included electricity and gas. So our electric bill for our camper for the month of April was $204.96. So yeah, I'm not really sure why our electric bill was so high in our camper this month. I do know that in our house, one of our biggest bills every single month was our electric bill. So we came from a 2,000 square foot house and it just was not efficient. So we had central AC, but we also had to have window AC units upstairs, and our power bills were just so high. So April month must have been one of our lowest months. So it's kind of funny that I just happened to choose this month to do because we had some very high electric bills in that house, $500, $600 for electricity at that house. So this just happened to be a low month for electricity, I guess, at the house. All right, the next one is water, our water bill. So in our house in April of 2024, our water bill was $96.46. And in our camper this month, our water bill was $47.51. Now, I will say that the difference here is that at our house, we were billed for the amount of water that we used, but now we're on some sort of water co-op situation, and so it's the same price every single month, which is great. It's $47.51 every single month. And at our house, we did also have some really high water bill months. We had a pool there as well, and we obviously had just more plumbing at the house than we have in a camper, so bathtubs and showers and the pool, so we used a lot more water there. All right, next is our trash, our monthly trash fee. So in a house, our trash was $22 a month. And in our RV, our trash is $32 a month. So it is higher in our RV than it was in a house. I'm not sure why. It's the same company. Actually, we just are in a different area. All right, next up is our internet. So when we lived in a house, we lived in town, and there was Wi-Fi that could be run to our house. So we did that, and it was $40 a month. But now we bought this property in kind of a very rural area. It's out in the country, and there was not a way to have Wi-Fi run to our camper. And so we have Starlink, and it is $50 a month. Now, before you throw stones at me for saying our Starlink is $50 a month, let me explain, because I said this on Instagram one time and people came after me saying that there was no way my Starlink was $50 a month. But the reality is that it is $50 a month. We do the Starlink roam option, so it means that you can take the Starlink actually somewhere else and it's still usable. So some people get this for traveling. We just got it for our RV because we were opening our business at the same time, so we were going back and forth a lot and needed Wi-Fi in both places. So it's limited to 50 gigabytes a month, and every gigabyte over 50 you pay $1 per gigabyte. So technically we could go over $50 a month, but we don't do like streaming services at our camper. We do have a TV, but it's only connected to a DVD player, so we really don't use that much internet at our camper. So our Starlink is $50 a month. Next on the list is our insurance. So our homeowner's insurance was $137 a month. Now in our RV we have camper insurance, and it is $42 a month. Okay, that's actually the end of my bills for our house when we lived in a house, but we actually have extra bills in a camper that we did not have in a house, just because of the unique situation. So our septic waste we pay separately in our RV. I have a whole video on how we dispose of our black water in our camper. I'll link that down below if you're interested. But in short, we actually haul our black water to our local campground every month, and that costs us about $45 a month. And I know some people are going to be asking in the comments, what about propane? How much does propane cost? So in the month of April, we actually have not had to fill our propane tanks, so I'm not going to include that. When we do fill our tanks, it costs about $70. We have two 30-pound propane tanks connected to our camper, but we don't fill them every month. We just fill them as needed, and we just don't go through propane that quickly. The propane is for our stove and our oven and our furnace if we use it, but we don't really use the furnace that much. So the propane really lasts us. So we do not fill it every month, maybe every other month, but I don't even know if it's that frequent. So I did not include it. So when we actually add everything up and total it, our RV living costs for April came out to $1,220, and our housing costs were about $1,925. So if you do the subtraction there, we are saving roughly $700 a month living in an RV instead of a house. So that's actually not that dramatic of a gap like some people are expecting. I feel like online, a lot of people make it seem like RV life is just free and carefree and you don't have to pay for anything, and that is just not true. We have a lot of bills, and like I said, we have more bills in the RV than we had in a house, but they are less, as you can see from the numbers. But for us personally, we did not move into a camper solely to save money. We moved into an RV originally almost 2 years ago now to create more margin, not only in our finances, but also in our time. Our old house was big and beautiful, and we'd renovated the whole thing, but it really just did not work for us. The layout was kind of awkward. We didn't use a lot of the space, and it never really flowed the way that we wanted it to. It felt like we were constantly cleaning and maintaining and just keeping up with everything. And it had a pool, which just was the worst to maintain. What we really wanted was a piece of land that suited our family, where we could build a house that just fit who we are and the needs that we have as a family. But when we actually looked at the numbers, we knew that we couldn't carry a full mortgage payment, buy land, and take on a construction loan all at the same time. Our debt to income ratio would have been way too high, and a bank never would have approved us. So we knew if we were actually going to make this happen, we were going to have to do something kind of drastic to cut our debts down. So moving into the RV gave us the ability to do that. It lowered our monthly obligations enough and created breathing room, and it allowed us to start moving towards the things that we actually were trying to build, which at the time were our business and our house. So when the piece of land popped up on Zillow, we knew it was time to move. I was thinking back to whenever we first bought this property almost 2 years ago. It was overgrown and messy and abandoned and actually really overwhelming, but we could see the potential. Since then, we've been slowly clearing the land piece by piece and turning it into something that actually feels like a place where our family can grow. We moved this big shed over to my in-laws' property, and we've been working to clear that space so that we can build right where that shed was. And actually just a couple days ago, we got our finalized house plans back that we started designing back in January, so almost 4 months ago now. And this feels like a huge milestone for our family. For the first time, this doesn't feel like just an idea that's just existing in our heads, but it feels more real and tangible, and we can start moving forward with getting quotes and getting the loan so that we can actually start building our house. But that is not all that's happened in the last couple of years. We also opened a coffee shop back in December of 2025. That's where I'm at right now, sipping on a little oat milk latte. And that took a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of learning and patience, but we're doing it, and I'm here right now. And in that same season, we also brought home our 4th baby. So the last 2 years have been incredibly full for our family. Not every step has been sunshine and rainbows. There have been moments where we felt completely stretched thin, completely overwhelmed, where things broke, things didn't go according to plan, but we just kept rolling with the punches, just kept taking the next step, moving forward, and now we're finally starting to see some of the fruit of this. And the best part for us is that we've been able to do all of this together as a family, with our children watching us, with them helping along the way. They're going to have incredible memories and stories to tell, and we're actually so grateful to have them part of this entire process. At the end of the day, we didn't really move into a camper just to save money. We moved into a camper to actually start building towards a life that we wanted, that we're excited about, and that works for us and not against us. And if you're watching this right now and you are considering doing something similar, moving into an RV on your own piece of property and trying to figure out where to start, we put together a step-by-step guide sharing everything we've learned along the way, how we set up water, how we set up power, how we deal with our waste tanks, our products and resources that we use almost every single day. So you can actually grab that guide in the description box. I will put a link for it, and it's on sale right now for $27. And if you want to follow along as we start building our house from the ground up, make sure to subscribe, because we're actually really excited to bring you guys along with us on this journey.